Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Tired.
How is everybody? Why are we so bright today? I don't know. It's a stormy, gross, nasty day, but for some reason, our lighting makes us look more pale than normal. So you guys get to enjoy that today. Hello, everybody. Hello, Sarah. Sarah was the first here today. She is the first to comment. So for those of you who are new, we always do a little pre-live thing where we hang out for the first 10 minutes to allow people time to hop on. Yay, everybody's here. Oh, she got her name to show up. I just told him to make sure to remember that Dragonfly Day was you. Hello, Rachel. Rachel just emailed us a few minutes ago saying that she would have to pop out in a little bit, but
that's fine.
There will be a replay, so you guys don't have to worry about that. Hello, everybody. All of our usuals are here today. Oh, no, never mind. I see a few new people. Good morning, everybody. Well, we are going to be hanging out for the first 10 minutes, letting everybody have time to kind of get on. One of the emails that I was supposed to send, one sent out, or one of them, so about 2,000 emails sent out at 10 a.m. And then I looked at the second batch, which hadn't sent out yet, and I realized I scheduled it for next week to send. Totally goofed up. So there's a little bit of example of human error that everybody will experience at some point when it comes to their email lists. But that's why some of you guys received your notice 30 minutes ago as opposed to an hour ago like I'd hoped. Sorry for that. It's not going to happen next week. I'll make sure that it gets sorted out. But Mr. Moore here is going to be heading out in, what, 10 minutes?
A few minutes, yeah. Just got to get our kiddo off the bus.
Yeah, she's actually getting out of school at noon today because we're about to have a massive ice storm. So that's going to be super exciting.
And yes, Julie, there will be a replay. There's almost always a replay for our Friday.
Yeah, Fridays we do a replay, and you can access that replay either by going directly to the channel, or if you go to your email and you receive the email reminder, if you click on the link in the email that took you to the live stream, you can also access the replay from the exact same link. So that link will not change at all. Didn't realize the time. Oh, that's okay. No problem.
That's why we start a little bit early.
Yeah, we have literally just started, and we still, we give it 10 minutes to give people time to hang out. So good thing you guys work from home. Exactly. That would be a nightmare. In fact, we used to work for a Honda factory, and we had a few times when we had to call off work because we could not get there. Because the snow here is so bad. So of course I say that. And then I had somebody who was from Canada, one of our alphas, who said that it was negative 30 where she lives. So we can't complain that much. It was.
I'm still going to complain. It's cold.
Oh yeah. It was 56 yesterday, which is amazing for this time of year.
Below 12 today.
But below 12 today. So somehow that's possible. Oh, we have a few. Oh, Ronnie Jones, first live stream, super exciting. Well, you get to hang out with us for a few more minutes until we officially start. It was 15 degrees today, 69 degrees, just crazy. Oh, it was 15 degrees and today 69 degrees. Yeah, the constant changing is what really messes me up.
Yeah, me too.
Negative 25 today. No, thank you. That's all right. I'll pass on that. I don't, we complain about Ohio being cold, but.
Well, I mean, our wind chills get down to negative 15, negative 20.
Oh, yeah, but if her actual existing temperature, the standing temperature, is negative 25.
Oh, I doubt that. I'm pretty sure that's wind chill. Negative 25 is a pretty extreme temperature to not be wind chill.
Yeah. I mean,
that's like Siberian weather.
Anybody been to Siberia? How are you guys? How is everybody? How's everyone feeling today? I know that everyone's really freaking out about the Hostgator stuff. If you are an architect student, I can assure you that Renee and Carrie and Benji are taking good care of you. If you are doing your hosting through Hostgator, you may be noticing some problems with your website. Unfortunately, that is nothing to do with, Renee. Hostgator is what we personally use for the website that we're working on. And so far, we have not noticed any issues with our hosting. However, if you're experiencing those problems, one thing I know about Renee is she always has a positive course of action to help you out. So she'll get something figured out But when was the last time we worked on the website? It was yesterday, right? Yesterday?
I didn't even realize they're talking about being -25, -44. They're talking about Celsius.
Oh, Celsius. We should have known that. Why didn't we know that?
So it's not that much colder than this.
No. Oh, man. I was thinking -25.
0 Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit.
My dad was born in Siberia. It's not that bad. It sounds bad. It sounds terrifying.
That's where the world record colds are, I believe. Right.
Not sure how I'm feeling with everything on at the home front. Linda, are you talking about the things that are going on with you? I've been kind of keeping up with that. You know, I don't comment a lot when it comes to when I see your guys' statuses, the ones of you who've added me on Facebook, because I don't really chat with people on Facebook. I just don't have the time. But sometimes I do lurk and linger, and I, you know, read your guys' statuses. So I'm always worried about you guys, especially when you're posting, you know, crazy things like heat going out and pipes freezing. And I've been seeing a whole lot of that. So for anybody experiencing problems because of this weather, we're thinking about you. It's definitely been a crazy winter so far.
Yeah, temperatures just up and down all over the place.
Ultimate Architect student influx broke the server. It'll be okay. You know what? Hostgator runs probably millions of websites. It wasn't, I promise it wasn't architect students. A few thousand new students definitely.
They probably had a small issue, and being down for 3 to 5 days on a smaller company like Hostgator, I mean, that's pretty normal.
Yeah. And, you know, when it comes to servers, you know, that could be a multitude of problems if there's an issue in the server, and it's probably going to take time.
Hundreds of different things. Yeah. If it's so bad that they're down for 3 to 5 days, it's not a small problem. It's a big problem, and it might take them some time to fix.
Right. But I'm sure that they'll get it fixed. They don't want to lose their customers.
No,
they are a
definitely
business.
not. That's their livelihood.
Did you see the ice tsunami video? That was mental. Hope no alphas were affected by that. No, I didn't, but that's terrifying.
Check that out.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying. Oh, temps have been up and down in the UK as well. Nowhere near as bad as you by the sound of it, though. Yeah, it has been crazy. Our basement flooded. 2 of our kids' rooms are ruined.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hope you had insurance. That sucks.
Yeah, we have our insurance. Was it our renter's insurance that replaced all our
rental
food?
Insurance? Yeah, USAA does us pretty good.
Yeah, we have USAA, and they replaced all of our food when our power went out, and they reimbursed us for what, like.
It's like $300 worth of food.
Yeah, we just called them and they sent us $300 to replace all our
Same
food.
day.
So, but anyway, guys, we got about 2 minutes until we will be starting. We're going to be this is going to be one of those discussions where I kind of lead the topics and you guys can insert questions along the way. Then at the end, I will have 2 book recommendations for you. But the topic today that we're going to be discussing is motivation and what to do when you absolutely feel like nothing's working and you want to just walk away from your Etsy shop, which, you know, it may not seem like it, but pretty much all of big businesses that you see, especially on Etsy, have gone through those feelings at some point. And I certainly know I have multiple times. And I see a lot of posts in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, which if you're not a member, that is linked below, because if you're not a member of that, you're kind of missing out on half of the Handmade Alpha content. Everybody who is in the Facebook community, type down in the comments and let me know if you're a member of the community, because it is a great place to hang out if you need support and need to ask questions, because, you know, we're not always available to ask and go in depth with every single question, nor can we offer advice on certain topics, such as maybe we'll say digital art. But we have alphas who are extremely experienced in that area and they can help you out. So it kind of builds on itself. But it's one of those groups where it's almost like you go into Etsy groups now and there's so much drama and bickering and no one really knows what they're doing. They all want to be successful, but nobody really knows how to get there. And there's no solid advice going around. It's just this and that and this and that. But in the Handmade Alphas, everything is very directional. And most of the topics that are discussed in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community are based on the trainings that I teach. Therefore, pretty much everyone in the group is on the same page. And if somebody posts and they need something and I have a training on it, the alphas are there to say, you know, Starla already has a video on this. You can find it here. That way we're all on the same page and we're going, you know, in the same direction together, rather than everyone doing their own thing and trying to guess what's working. So look at all of our members.
And I'll be back in 20-ish minutes or so. Gotta go get the kiddo off the bus.
Goodbye, Mark. Everyone say goodbye. All right, let me scoot over here. Oh, you guys have to deal with just me today.
Oh,
just for a
God.
moment. Oh no, not me. Hey, the lighting fixed when you left. Maybe it was your face that was breaking my camera. He just blamed my paleness for our super bright camera. Ooh, and then I got like this makeup thing, like smudging on my face. See, you can tell it's live when we have, you know, grossness. Ugh. Yay, it's live. All right, so let's chitty chat, guys. We have a lot of you. Everyone's laughing. Sorry, my eye came off. That's the reason that I wear the hat. Most people always comment that I'm always wearing a hat in the winter. It's because my skin gets really oily, because my skin is really dry, so I have to put on a lot of lotion. And because my skin is really oily from the lotion, my eyebrow on this side where my bangs are gets rubbed off because my skin is oily. So I have to position my hair right over the eyebrow, put the hat on to hold the hair down so you can't see where the eyebrow's coming off. Does that make sense? Now you know. My eyebrows aren't real. Anyway, guys, back to motivation. There is only one reason that you guys should ever give up on your Etsy shop. Only one. And it's not so much as a reason as it is kind of what should guide you into making that big decision. And that is if you have the ability to shut down that shop and then, you know, a month down the road, 2 months down the road, a year down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you are still able to back up your decision to shut down that shop. You can say to yourself, I made the right choice. Now, if you have any doubt in your mind that you're going to be able to do that, if you have any doubt in your mind that you're going to be able to say, I made the right choice by shutting this shop down, or if, you know for a fact you will not feel a single ounce of regret in doing so, then it's time to shut down your shop. But if you don't feel like you're going to regret your decision, if you know that you're, what, I messed up there. If you know that you're going to regret that decision, whether it not be, you know, maybe it won't be tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you'll say, wow, I feel so relieved to not have all this work to do. But a month from now, are you still going to feel the same way? Now, if you know for a fact that you're going to regret that decision later down the line, whether it be, you know, tomorrow, a month from now, 5 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, if you know you're going to regret that decision, then it is not the decision that you need to make, because you will never, ever, ever truly fail until the day when you close that shop entirely and walk away. And I'll tell you one thing, if you're destined to be an Etsy storefront or an Etsy shop owner, there may be a different business out there for you aside from the one that you're working on. You know, what you're doing right now may not be working for you. However, that's not to say that Etsy or whatever online platform you're selling from is out of the question. You may have just found the one shop that isn't going to work for you. Now, when it comes to businesses, there are tons of very successful entrepreneurs who have started with a business that failed, or they put all of their energy into this one business and it failed, and that did not stop them. They just realized that this idea didn't work and they move on to the next one. So I'm not telling you to work on a business for a year and then say, well, it didn't work, because it usually takes around 5 years for your business to become successful. In fact, that's pretty much exactly how long it's taken me to get to where I am now, about 5 years. And it has been constant work and constant sweat and constant tears. And there have been days where I have literally sat and just cried my eyes out because this didn't work, that didn't work. I didn't understand this, I didn't understand that. But I kept going. And that's why I am where I am today. If you guys don't know me, I'm 25 years old and we are completely paying for our home on Etsy money. My husband was able to not have to re-enlist in the military, and he was able to quit his job that he got right after getting out of the military, soon after we moved back home to Ohio. So, all of these things are possible because in those moments when I wanted to give up, I kept going. And there were days when I had to walk away altogether. There were days when I didn't know what to do. I was completely confused. And I just needed to rest my mind to gain back my motivation. This is one thing that, for those of you who know mine and my husband's bodybuilding background, it's the same advice that we gave to people who we coached in fitness. pretty much when you have that initial motivation to start that shop, that excitement, same as if, you're excited to start that diet plan. You might have that motivation and excitement when you're planning, when you're writing out the diet plan, writing out your meals, or when you're writing out, your plan for your shop, writing out your product lines. However, in a couple weeks or months, or maybe even years, you might begin to lose that motivation and slow down. Feels that you won't have that excitement all the time. Same as when you start dating, you're dating someone and you have those butterflies and that excitement and, you're so in love, but those feelings go away. And a lot of people think that those are the feelings of falling out of love, when in reality, those are the feelings of, reality setting in and be able to keep going when that motivation fades. And that motivation will come back, just like butterflies in a relationship. There are moments when that will come back. But a lot of the times you're not going to feel like that. You're going to slow down. You're going to have days when you want to give up. I still do. I still have those days where I just think, man, I just can't do it. I can't do it today. So I don't do it today. I walk away for a day. Now, I don't let that, keep me away for an extended amount of time, but I'll walk away for a day while I set in a different plan of action. So real quick, I see the comments blowing up. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and make sure that I've gotten a few answered before we, continue. A lot of people saying that they felt the exact same. Linda, I'm doubting that I'm succeeding, but I'm too stubborn to quit. You have to be too stubborn to quit. Great place to get advice. Thank you. I'm an established shop, but it was a rough year for some reason, but I decided to keep on. It's been a rough year for a lot of us. Don't let that slow you down. All markets have rough years. Man, my eye is just losing eyeliner. Gross. Let's see. It would be great if I could just figure out what I'm doing wrong. And we'll kind of not particularly talk about what you're doing wrong, but we'll talk about what to do. Excitement equals new idea. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. All right, guys. Oh, sounds like hubby is in with the kiddo, so he should be back here in just a minute. All right, guys. So real quick, I do have a couple bullets that I wanted to try to keep intact here. So I want to try to go down the list a little bit. Oh, okay. Here's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. One thing that I hear a lot of people say is, I've tried everything and it isn't working. I've just tried everything. I've tried everything and nothing works, or Etsy just didn't work for me. I hear that all the time. And when I hear people say that, when I hear somebody say it isn't working or it's not working for me, I guess all I can really hear is them pawning off the excuse onto something else. Nobody wants to take the fault for not being successful with your shop. And that's hard, because being accountable for the things that we're uncomfortable about, not being able to get your shop off the ground, not making sales, those things that make us uncomfortable are hard to pinpoint on ourselves. But if you're never, ever, ever able to pinpoint, where these problems are coming from and narrow it down to mistakes that you're making, that you are personally making, it's really hard to jump over that hurdle. And a lot of people like to blame external things. Well, it's the economy. Well, it's this. Well, it's that. Well, it's Etsy. Etsy changed this. Etsy changed that. And yeah, that sucks. It sucks when Etsy makes changes. But the shops that do well on Etsy are the shops that just go with the punches. They roll with the punches and learn new ways to counter these obstacles. And one of the books that I'm going to be recommending a little bit later will kind of help you to identify the different kinds of obstacles that exist and how to overcome each of those different types of obstacles. So that'll be coming in just a few minutes. Let's see. This is my third attempt at an Etsy shop, and just now I'm starting to feel success. That is amazing. And you know what? That is something that everyone should hear, because I ran, though it was in the same shop, Art by Star Lamore, it was in the same shop, but I was not in the same market when I started out. I sold art. That's why my shop name is Art by Star Lamore. I attempted to sell tattoo designs. And I actually made a little bit of money off of it, but just it was too impossible to maintain and draw all of these designs by hand, and I just wasn't making enough money for me to keep up with the shop. And then I switched over to hemp jewelry. I thought, well, tattoos and hemp jewelry, you know, the hippie thing will do really well in my shop. And that failed. So I eventually switched over to the skeleton keys. So I've gone through multiple stages of business, but I'm just now to the one that actually works. Crystal said, haven't launched my shop yet, and I'm nervous every day as I get closer to launch. Those feelings are absolutely normal. And in fact, I'm going to be talking about why people like me, young people, younger people, our young folks out here, why we are the most dangerous people in the marketing world. So we'll kind of talk about that as soon as I make sure that I don't have any more questions. See, my husband's usually the one to answer the questions while I'm hanging out here. This year I'm working on setting up a shop. Should I get an accountant? And what point is it best to get an accountant? Well, Rosetta, we're not really going to be covering that. We're kind of talking about the, I want to kind of keep it to the motivational today. But if you want to, I personally, I mean, if you want an accountant now, go right on ahead. It's never a bad idea to have an accountant. It's never a bad idea to have an accountant. I'll just leave it there. I opened my shop in November and kind of feel like I'm not getting anywhere, but I'm not going to give up. No, definitely do not give up. All right, guys. So why younger people are more dangerous? Well, when you think about entrepreneurs, see, this is what happens when I get all like hyped up without Mr. Moore here to also chime in. When it comes to young people in the business world, the thing is, younger people have this ability to jump straight into things head first without that fear. And that's because fear of failure comes with knowing failure. When it comes to older people who are getting into the business world, when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you failed before in life. I mean, there is no doubt that somewhere in your life, at one point, you felt the sting of failure. And it doesn't mean that it was something catastrophic or something to even do with business, but you felt the fear of failure that makes you skeptical. And it makes you fear the possibility of failing again, because you don't want to fear or feel that gross, feeling of failure. It's overwhelming for some, and they don't want to feel it again. But for people like me who started my business when I was 19 years old, I really hadn't experienced a major taste of failure. I mean, we didn't have the best life growing up. When he and I got together, I was 18 and he was 19. We moved into a house that had very faulty electric, and we didn't have a lot of food. We didn't have the best jobs. We had a car that had one door welded shut, and the house was covered in black mold, which almost killed him. Now, those things, though we were what I would consider very, we'll just say it, we were very poor. We hadn't failed at anything. In fact, that to us was a gift because we were out of the house. We were away from our parents. So we really didn't fail at anything. We had these small obstacles. And for most young people, we don't have anything major that, like bankruptcy or anything that could make us be fearful of failing again. And that's why you see these 17-year-old billionaires. You see these very, very young people, teens, 20s, who are developing these crazy Fortune 500 companies because they haven't experienced that disgusting feeling of failure. But this is something that anyone can do. Not being afraid of failing is something that you can do no matter how old you are. It's just giving yourself the courage and the ability to jump in head first when you see an opportunity, because opportunities are so few and far between. You're not going to get a lot of life-changing opportunities that pop up before you. And you'll experience a few of those during your time in business. I've experienced several that I've passed and now I regret passing, just because I was a little bit fearful of doing so. But when it comes to the major business decisions, you really have to have that mindset that anything is possible. And when I started my business, I was Starla Moore, selling my keys. I was very cocky with my business. Even when I was just making a few sales here and there, I was too cocky. I was just the best of the best. And I thought that I had the best product in the world. And I was high and mighty, and I wasn't even the best to my customers in my first like few months of business before I really got a grip on marketing. I would have people ask me for a custom order, and I would be like, I just don't have the time for that. You know, how dare they think that I have the time to accommodate their ridiculous request? And I look back on that and almost cringe when I think about it, because, you know, just I wasn't working with at the time. But that mindset, despite the fact that I wasn't really the best business owner back then, that mindset is what has continued momentum with my business. And I've never really been afraid of failing at anything. You know, I've got it in my head that if this doesn't work, there's always going to be something. And it was the same with the handmade alphas and coaching. At first I thought no one's going to want to listen to me. For one, I'm all tattooed up. For two, I'm only 25. For three, I'm basically a kid who's fresh out of high school. I didn't go to college. All of my education has been through self-teaching, reading, online courses, which, you know, now talking to you guys, there are some of you who get 100% of your business advice from the Handmade Alpha community. And I never imagined it to be like this. And it was all very scary to me at first, the thought of putting myself out there. I didn't really think it was going to go anywhere. But now if I hadn't decided to do that, I wouldn't know any of you. You know, I would still just be running my jewelry business, and we wouldn't be growing together, and I wouldn't be able to help you guys to the extent that I have. So, you know, it all boils down to your mindset and your ability to recognize obstacles as being just that. They're only obstacles. You can go around them, you can go over them, you can get rid of them. There are some obstacles that are worse. There are obstacles like illness. There are obstacles like car accidents. There are obstacles like, you know, I know a few of you have survived cancer or are currently fighting cancer. Things like that are major obstacles, but they do not have to be the thing that, you know, ruins your business or your mindset, because those things can still be overcome. Maybe not, you know, you can't cure cancer with your mindset, but you can still pursue the things that you want to do in spite of the fact that there are terrible obstacles that are popping up in your life. And sometimes that's hard. And sometimes we do need to walk away from the business to heal our mind and to revive, you know, that healthy mindset. Sometimes it takes a lot of self-care. I know that there have been times when I've needed that. For example, when we moved across the country, my husband had just gotten out of the military, and we had to drive all the way from California to Ohio. I was super duper stressed. I had to close my business in December around Christmas time. All of my holiday orders had to be packaged in November and sent out. We had hundreds of orders that had to go out before we moved. And it was the most stressful time of our life. And moving and closing my shop down for a month was a major obstacle to me. I completely shut down when we finally arrived home, had a mental breakdown because we didn't have a house yet. We were living in this house, but his grandmother still lived here. So we were living in her basement trying to find a house to buy. And it was just so very stressful. She ended up actually giving us this house and moving to a lake house. She just told us that, you know, we could start paying for this house, and we are now buying it from her. But, you know, that confusion and not knowing what we were getting ourselves into, and did we make the right choice? Did we make the right choice by him leaving the military? Those were all things that scared us. Hello, sir.
Damn right, sir.
Well, you've missed my ranting.
Howdy, howdy.
Angela Beal, do you have a training on SEO book? I do. It is in my YouTube, but we're talking about motivation today. So any other questions we probably won't get to cover. Will you go ahead and go through and make sure that we don't have any other questions? Because I'm just rambling away. And look at this.
What you've covered, bro.
Look at my eyeliners.
Uh-huh.
And look at, I haven't really answered any question. It keeps rubbing off on my eyelid. And it's really ugly.
So glad I don't have that problem.
You got these big old caterpillars going on.
Where did you leave off? I haven't been here to know where you
just scroll up a little bit.
Missed questions.
Maybe you go ahead a little bit more. A little bit more.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Dude.
All right, go ahead and start here and just see if there's any questions that I've missed. I don't want to miss anybody. He's usually on comment duty to make sure. So that when it comes to young entrepreneurs, that is why you see so many young entrepreneurs that are so successful. It's because they don't have that fear of failure yet developed. And, anybody can acquire that mindset. It just takes practice and having the mindset there. Fear is actually an acquired feeling. Most people aren't born fearful of failure. It's through failure that we learn to be fearful. But fear is essential and failure is essential for our brain to learn, because brains have a very specific pattern. And when something new pops up that you are fearing, that you're afraid of, that you fail at, your brain has to change its pattern. And that feeling hurts. That is the sting of failure. So your brain has to learn a new pattern. Your brain has to learn to do something different than what it normally does. But once you begin practicing that new pattern, you begin learning that new thing, that becomes a part of you. That pattern becomes a new part of you. And that's how we learn everything. That's how we learn not to stick our fingers in light sockets. You either did it.
You're supposed to do that.
You either did it yourself, or you watched somebody do it and it became a new pattern in your head and you knew not to do it again, or not to do it because you saw someone else do it.
Did you get this question?
Yes, I did. So, so the books that I wanted to suggest to you guys real quick before we jump into more questions. First one, I've already recommended it a bunch of times, but I know we have new alphas. First book is Who Moved My Cheese? Who has Who Moved My Cheese? Type in the comments if you already have Who Moved My Cheese. Man, this makeup is getting so gross. I'm just going to put my hair here so you can't see it. I'll be a little emo kid today. Who Moved My Cheese? If you have Who Moved My Cheese, type down in the comments and let me know what you thought of it. Let the other alphas know what you thought of it. Because what this book does is it's basically, it's like an hour read. It'll only take you an hour to read. The print is very, very big. But this book kind of tells a little story, a little metaphor about tiny people living in a maze with tiny mice. And the whole premise of the book is, being accustomed to how things are, getting used to a way of life, and then having that way of life taken out from under you. These little mice and these little people are eating this cheese, but then suddenly the cheese is gone and they have to figure out where the new cheese is. Where is the cheese now? So this book sounds really silly, but be sure to pick it up. I got mine for like $1 at a used bookstore. You can get it for like under $5 on Amazon used. I always buy used books because I figure they do not lose quality buying used. So this is definitely one that you're going to want to read immediately. And it's a quick read, but it is a life-changing read. So
what if somebody reads on the toilet and you got their poop germs all over your book?
Why would you even say that? So if you buy your book, and you're afraid that somebody has, or get the audiobook, there you go. But if you are afraid that somebody before you read it on the toilet, you could just simply sanitize it. I actually learned how to sanitize books when I worked in a daycare. So this is a great read and you will love it. So, all right, gross. Yeah. Poop germs. How does the conversation get so motivating and then we always turn to poop?
That's my thing.
It always turns gross. It always turns to poop. That's just who we are.
You can't laugh at a fart joke. You're the
We should be professional. We should be professional because we're business owners. And we should dress more professional. Professional. This is what professional looks like. This is what it looks like to be an entrepreneur at
dress codes are for snobs, is what dress codes are for.
He says that after being in the military for 6 years.
And a lot of their uniform regs are stupid.
It's because we have kids. That's true. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. Susan has read it about 5 times. Yeah. Mark is back. Yeah, definitely.
That's right.
No, you're real.
Cheeseburger.
But yeah, definitely. This is one that you're going to want to read multiple times. Pick it up. You won't regret getting it. It's one that you're going to look at a lot. And I can't recommend this one enough. Now, the second one I actually just started reading today, and I'm almost halfway through it. This is one that he bought me for Christmas that I've been wanting to read for a long time. It is called Roar, and it covers those different kinds of obstacles that I was talking about earlier, the difference between obstacles. And ultimately, this author, she survived cancer and talks about how getting her books published, she was trying to get her books published, but was denied a bunch of times, and that was an obstacle. She found out that she had uterine cancer, and that was an obstacle because she wanted to have children, but she knew that she would have to get a hysterectomy and, you know, fight cancer. And then she also got laid off from her job of, I believe she said 20 years. So this is a really great read. And one thing that I will say is that when it comes to these books that cover psychology and neuroscience, I don't see a lot of female writers. And this was written by a female. Not that that matters, but I feel like there just aren't enough women influencing the psychology community in terms of literature. And her writing style, I really like it. The beginning's a little bit slow because she talks a lot about her past experiences, which, you know, some people really like that. I'm more about getting into the meat and potatoes of the points. But just based on what I've read so far, in fact, I'm going to go ahead. I kept the first paragraph. It's actually the first paragraph of the introduction that says, no matter how good your plans are, some unforeseen obstacle will always come up to get in your way. The key to living an optimal life is not how well you can plan for the expected problems, but how well you can adapt and handle the unexpected curves life throws in your path. Which, if you guys know me well or are an alpha, you've probably heard me use the phrase, flexibility should be your favorite F word. And this is a quote that my early childhood education instructor told me when I was training to be a preschool teacher. Obviously, that's not what I chose to do as an adult, but she always told us when we were working with the children that flexibility needs to be your favorite F word. And it has remained true through everything that I've done. There is no obstacle that you can't get around in some way. I mean, if you want an example of that, look at people like Oprah, who has gone through, you know, poverty, sexual abuse, and is now what, the richest woman?
One of the richest women in the world. Yeah.
Right. And there are so many people, when you look at successful people, everyone has a story. I mean, we have a story. I talked a little bit about some of our story, living in the house with crappy electric and black mold and him almost dying from the black mold. I told them about that.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. And, you know, everyone has a story, but you can't let that story be your reason why you didn't. You have to have enough drive that you can take accountability for everything and say, okay, I'm not putting blame on Etsy. I'm not putting blame on whatever it may be, you know, the government. I'm not putting my blame on the current president. I'm not putting my blame on financial issues. I'm not putting my blame on any of these things for my circumstances, because you have to be fully accountable for your circumstances. Get that smile off your face.
President Oprah. No way to trigger me better. She got me so triggered the other day.
I think that Oprah would make a decent president. However,
you know who else would make a really, really good president?
Elon Musk.
No, anyone that's not on TV. Let's say like an engineer or a scientist or a doctor or somebody with general intelligence.
Triggered.
Being nice is not a presidential quality. That's as far as I'm going to go into that.
I think that Elon Musk would make a great president because I love Elon Musk and I think he is one of the smartest men in our country right now.
And Elon Musk is a crap talker, man. When he thinks somebody's dumb, he lets them know that they're dumb, just like with the Facebook AI. He said that Mark Zuckerberg was unexperienced and that he needed to stop with his AI because he didn't know what he was doing. He calls people out.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Who wrote Roar? Jennifer M. Dunn. Jennifer M. Dunn. Done with D-U-N-N-E. So this is a great one. Let's see. Linda, your comment got flagged for cursing. That's something I turned on the channel to make sure that nobody
we won't get into that.
Yeah.
We won't get into that.
But anyway, I came across Gorilla Mindset yesterday. Not read it yet, but it seems similar to what you're saying. Yeah, I've heard that that's a really good one.
Yeah,
I try to not recommend any books that I haven't read just because I don't know what's in them and I don't know if they're effective. But I have heard that that's a good one. And I also have, what's over here?
I have no idea.
Grab that stack of books right
there.
After you get all the makeup off of it. You're breaking them. Don't you know how delicate powder palettes are? Jeez.
How much do I care?
Jeez. What do I have? What did I just buy? Oh, I just bought, I haven't read these yet, but one that all the alphas keep telling me to read. I've read other books by this author, but I haven't actually read Mindset. Everyone keeps telling me to read it. So I'm reading that one next. And I'm also reading Love Works, which apparently kind of covers how showing care to people in marketing and as leaders, showing love to those who you lead is obviously the most effective way to be a leader. So that's why I'm reading that. But that might be something that some of you are interested in, though it's not going to help you that much with marketing. But one thing that I've said it a million times, you guys, when it comes to suggesting business books, there are very few business books that I recommend, that I suggest, because business books aren't what helped me. All those books that say how I made this much money in this many days, how I made myself a billionaire.
They made all that money by selling their crappy books about making money.
I don't read those books. And every book that I've read like that has said the exact same things, and it doesn't help me. But what has helped me and pushed me to the point where I am today is reading psychology books, because if you can understand how the human mind works and exactly what's happening in your brain, you can not only control your brain and how you act and how you succeed, you can also control how your shoppers think and feel and what is going to make them buy, which for those of you who have been following the progress of what will soon be, not soon, it's going to be a while, but will later be the Handmade Alpha Academy. That is exactly what we're going to be teaching in there. It's going to be the psychology behind the marketing rather than the business side of things, where it's just, do this because I said so. It's going to be do this because here's how it will change the human mind or how it will trigger the human mind. But we don't want to get into that right now because that is far from done and it's going to be a while. And when I have an update, I'll give it to you guys. It's still in such early stages of development that I don't even have anything really to say about it.
Where do you find time to read? Pretty much any time that she's kind of bored and can't really focus on anything else at the time. Like this morning, for instance, we kind of felt meh this morning, and I was watching videos she wasn't interested in, so she just picked it up and read like half that book. So
yeah, I usually,
just whenever she can.
A good time to read for me is in the morning, right when I wake up. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm not awake enough yet to work and to, handle my emails and things. When you first wake up, you're just a monster. You don't want to deal with life yet. So during that time, that's when I find it best to read, or just carry a book around with you. You have moments in your day that you don't realize. Keep it in the bathroom and pick it up when you take a poop. You're going to be in there for a few minutes anyways. If you know you're not going to have any other time to read, pick it up then, because you're probably going to be in there a couple times during the day.
Crystal said it's hard to find experts who aren't just selling a book. Well, here's the thing. The experts that aren't selling a book are the ones that are experts because they're focusing on their business. They don't want to write a book. The ones that are writing books most of the time aren't writing them themselves. They're having somebody follow them around, taking down their thoughts and writing the book for them. And the ones that are writing the books themselves typically don't want to run a business anymore, and they just want to sell their books and retire.
Right, because those books sell, 5 steps to learn how to make $100,000 a year. That's the kind, because 5 steps, that's a psychological trigger. Right. Oh, it's only going to take me 5 steps. That's easy. I can do that.
Right. Like look at somebody like Ty Lopez, for instance, probably one of the most popular businnesmen.
I like Ty Lopez. I'm sorry.
But realistically, he's a very smart real estate investor. That's where he makes most of his money. And all the tips that he's quote unquote tips that he's giving out, that's how he makes most of his income now. That's all he does.
Selling his 60.
Yeah, selling the steps. But realistically, those are just steps that you could get. I mean, you could rationalize those on your own. He's not selling you anything really that useful that you couldn't find out without paying. But that's how he's making his living. I'm just trying to make an example of the people that are selling their products just for the sake of selling their products. Like how I made $1 million in a year. They made $1 million in a year by selling you their book. That's why they're making that book. Same with Ty Lopez.
Kelly.
Which one?
Kelly Matthews.
I fight with, I don't know what that word is. Comparisonitis. Okay, I'm too tired for that. I'm a one-person shop and it frustrates me. I don't have the time and day to execute all my wish list. How do I get over it?
You have to, saying how do I get over anything, you know what the problem is, so you kind of just have to begin reminding yourself every day. You can't compare your journey to someone else's because all of our journeys are going to be different, and that frustrates me a lot as a seller. when I have a lot of people who will just come to me and say, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you do it? And it doesn't matter how I did it. I will share my advice with you, the advice that I know can be replicated. But some of the things that worked for me, I can't replicate because they probably won't work for you.
Everybody's brain works differently.
So when it comes to getting into a new mindset, my recommendation, first of all, is do the thing that's going to inspire you to get into that mindset. And that mindset isn't going to remain. It's just like motivation. It'll go away. Some of you who have said that you've read Who Moved My Cheese, since you read it, have you had times where you still placed blame on something else? If you have, then you've gotten out of the mindset, because if you read Who Moved My Cheese, I'm sure that after you read it, you were very motivated, but that motivation wears off. That's why it's good to have an arsenal of things that constantly inspire you. Have a stack of books that you can refer to. Maybe put an inspirational quote on your wall that you can look at. Get it tattooed on your wrist. I've seen people do that for times when they don't have that motivation to remember why they started. For some of us, look at your family, look at your family and tell yourself, I'm doing it for them. That should be motivation enough. In fact, one of our favorite bodybuilders, who actually just recently passed away, Rich Piana, he said that when he was pushing weight, one of the things that he did was pretend that if he didn't get that weight up, his family was going to die. His family would die if he didn't push that weight. And that's a scary thought.
But it's a motivator.
But it's a motivator, and it worked. That's why.
Obviously, it's just an example, because when you're working out, you're in a high adrenaline environment, so that's appropriate. I wouldn't do that with your Etsy business. That's not a good.
My family's gonna die if I don't. But you can still create motivation. I had to motivate myself or I guess I got into the mindset to motivate myself because he told me when I was in the early stages of development with my business that if I were to make X number of dollars before his enlistment ended, that we could go home. We could move back to Ohio, where our little girl, who's now 5, she was 4 years old and had never met her family. And all I wanted was to be home. I am a mama's girl. I want to be back with my mom. I love my mom to death. And I wanted to be home. So I knew that that was my motivation. If I do this, we can go home. You can give yourself a motivator, give yourself a reward. Maybe for those of you who say that you're saving up for, Architect or Handmade Titan University or Handmade Alpha Academy, whenever that gets done, let that be your motivator. Say, when I make this much money, I'm going to treat myself to more education by enrolling in this course. And that to me, giving yourself a reward that's going to help you rather than saying, when I do this, I'm going to buy myself a new TV. That TV isn't really going to help you that much, but saying, I'm going to go at the end of the week, if I make this many sales, I'm going to go buy a new book.
Right. Like what we just did with Udemy.
Oh,
we just bought like six courses we have like a year's worth of courses on Udemy now. Like, I'm going to be making a video game for fun. Like,
he's developing a video game. One thing I will say about buying courses on there, most of the things that on all the courses I've taken so far, it's all stuff that you can find on Google.
Yeah, it's just compiled information. Somebody took the time to make videos about information they found online. It's convenient, but it's just a little fun thing that we like to do.
I just wouldn't take any. I wouldn't take any of their Etsy courses because from what I've seen in the comments or the reviews on them, a couple people are like, "Oh, this is great," but most people are like, "This is exactly what you would find on." The thing about that site is anybody can hop on and throw up a course.
It's literally free for you to make an account and start selling a course. It's just if you do decide to do any online courses from something that's not a legitimate school, make sure you just do your research and don't get your hopes too high.
Right.
Wait for sales too. Like, we bought all of our courses. They were like $200 courses, but they were on sale for $10 because of the new year. So don't go spending $200 on a course that's not from a real school. It's not worth it at this point.
Right.
The people are talking about Sherry feeling frustrated. I'm paying for promoted listings on Etsy, but they're not working. Do you have a video on how to use Etsy's promoted ads and how to figure bids for them?
No, I actually don't right now. One thing that I will say is that I wouldn't just say my ads aren't working, because they could be working. What ads do is they put your content in front of more eyes. But if you don't have the best content on the page, or you don't have the best listing on that page, people still aren't going to click on it, or when they click on it, they won't buy it. So rather than saying I'm paying for them and they're not working, they might be doing exactly what their job is, which is to put you on that page, on that front page, or on that first page. But if your listing doesn't measure up to the other listings that are on that first page, regardless of what you make, you may need to take more accountability into yourself and what you could be doing wrong with that listing or your listings that are being featured. So begin looking at things like that, like your actual photos and descriptions. And sometimes your pricing, but usually not, because you want to try to keep your prices high. Also
keep in mind, it's a slow time of year too.
Yes, absolutely.
It's one of the slowest times of the year right now. The holidays just finished up, so keep that in consideration too.
Linda, I still can't get the ideas and concept of a 10-piece product line, but I think it's because I don't have a final idea yet. 10-piece product line, if you've taken Renee Christine's free handmade training at freehandmadetraining.com, best freaking free training online. You guys need it if you haven't taken it yet. Totally free, and you get 1 video a day. But a product line can be anything. You know, I'm doing the Wizardry collection, which is going to be kind of Harry Potter inspired, but it's all going to be like owls and things. It doesn't have to be people who are fans of Harry Potter. It's not, actual pieces from Harry Potter. You know what I mean? But anyway, just theme it. And sometimes you just have to make the product line, look at it and say, what does this look like? I've done that. I've made a bunch of keys and said, wow, these are mostly all animals. This is going to be the wildlife collection, So sometimes it takes just making them and then taking a picture and posting it in the group and saying, hey guys, what would you name this collection?
Right now I'm panicking and about not knowing where my receipts went to give to my accountant. So if for some reason you end up not being able to find the receipts, see if you paid with like a debit card, get your bank transactions and just try to see if you can filter through bank transactions, if you can remember which ones were business related or not.
Yeah.
It's kind of a pain when you lose receipts. We've lost some things before too, but yeah, that's really a pain. Let's see. Do you recommend any accounting bookkeeping course? Was there?
Yeah, Linda.
How did you finally focus with the keys?
I focused with the keys when I started making keys. And I had a bunch of other stuff in my shop too. I had keys, bracelets, earrings, and tiaras and chokers and scarves. I had a bunch of stuff. But I began focusing with the keys when I realized that the keys were what were selling the most of. And they were what I was receiving the most positive feedback on. So I narrowed down my niche and I realized that most people wanted the keys. That's why they were there. And that's what I focused on. And the keys were kind of the harder thing to make. They took more time than the bracelets and the earrings and things. But I focused on those keys. Despite the fact they took me more time, I knew I could sell them at a higher price point. So for example, Linda, I know that you were experimenting with keychains and things because they were smaller and they're easier for people to pick up, like when they're we'll say you're selling at a vendor's event and someone might not have a lot of money on hand, but they can pick up a keychain. That's fine, but it's easier to sell one $100 piece than it is to sell 100 $1 pieces. So I would focus on bigger things too. It doesn't matter what they are either. It can be your pendants or your bracelets, but focus on getting higher end products in your shops too, because ultimately those are going to be easier to sell.
All right. Now, do you recommend any accounting or bookkeeping courses or any direction on help to find it?
Carmen, I actually have one of our handmade alphas is creating a bookkeeping course. I'm
our accountant.
Yeah, one of our handmade alphas is creating a bookkeeping course, but she's not done with it. I'm actually beta testing it off and on. I've been really busy. I don't know if she's here today, but if you post in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, she might say something. If not, I think that Jason Malinak from Etsypreneurship, his Etsy shop, though he's not an accountant, he doesn't really have a course about it. He has bookkeeping materials. And guys, down in the comments, what's the other one that you recommended? There was another one. Was it like Sticky something? I can't remember. I can't remember offhand what the name of that shop was that does the accountant or the bookkeeping. I think they were printouts or something. If anybody knows the name of that shop on Etsy, post it in the comments. But the other one is Jason Malinak at JJM Finance, I think. And his business is Etsypreneurship. He used to be really big on YouTube, but he's kind of disappeared off the grid along with Timothy Adam. Two guys went, and Dan Safkow or Safkow, I can't remember. But they were all really big in the Etsy community and they kind of disappeared. But they still sell bookkeeping material for Etsy. Okay, that's why I'm trying to figure out what items to focus on. Linda, it sounds like you need to do some batch testing and ask your target market or your customers what they enjoy the most. And the easiest way to do this in most cases is to post a few photos to give them options, because people don't know what they want until they see it. They need to see a visual to choose. That's one of the things I think I referred to this at our last Q&A, but when Ford was asked, it was something about Ford being asked. No, he said, if I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. You know, before there were cars, people didn't know that they wanted cars, but when he invented cars, they wanted cars. So they don't know what they want until they see it. So maybe just show them a couple photo examples, show them bracelets, show them a necklace, show them earrings, show them a keychain, and say, which one of these do you want more of?
I need to lower my supply cost, but it's hard to find low volume friendly suppliers. Yeah, that's kind of the rough part about running an Etsy business, is if you need external supplies, that's good luck on your adventure with that. That's a pain.
Yeah, we've had trouble with that too. It usually just takes hours, days, weeks, months of research. In fact, we waited years to find a chain supplier, and we still have problems with our chain supplier. So that's one of those things that you just kind of, a lot of people use trade shows for their supplies, but it just depends on what you need, because we don't find anything that we could possibly use in a trade show. But it's a rough battle, but that's one that every seller has to fight. So
Jamie, when would you release a spring collection?
As soon as possible. I'm releasing my spring collection. The Wizardry collection is technically my spring collection, and it will be coming out either late this month or early next month, because I'm running a bit behind. Our supplies have been held up due to weather issues, unfortunately.
And we very busy.
Yeah.
Busy.
So yeah, but as soon as possible, spring collections, a lot of people have already launched them. So get it out whenever you can. Just make sure you give enough time to market it. I would give it at least a month, or, you know, maybe 2 to 3 weeks if you think that you're able to pull it off, and tease that collection to actually gain some excitement and momentum around it before you launch it. That way people know to expect it. If you just launch it and throw the stuff in your shop, it's not going to generate excitement the way that it should, and it's not going to result in as many sales.
Hannah, what do you do on days when you're really unmotivated and questioning your business, but you absolutely have to get work done because of unavoidable deadlines?
On those days, I usually start out by doing something that's going to inspire me. My very favorite is called Charisma on Command. It's pretty motivating, and it talks more about charisma building and kind of bettering yourself. However, I really like the channel because it just motivates me to take action and to move. And there's a couple videos about like how to not fail at anything. And I can't remember some of the titles offhand, but watching videos like that kind of gets me moving. And there are some days when I feel terrible, but I have a deadline, you know? Everybody goes through that, and it's a pain. The only thing that you can really do on those days is to get yourself into at least a halfway positive mindset by doing something either that you can enjoy, that you know is going to get you moving, or that you know is going to make you happy. And for me, that is watching inspiring videos. It could be books for you. It could be, you know, just talking to somebody in your family who inspires you.
Motivational speeches.
Oh, motivational speeches.
What I always did with my bodybuilding thing. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I know he's a bit goofy, but his actual speeches on success and like how he became successful are really good. Yeah,
and it doesn't even need to be, you don't even need to watch business motivational speaking. Watch some Toastmasters videos.
Yeah, Toastmaster. I was in Toastmasters in the military.
Yeah, Toastmasters is basically a bunch of people get together in a room and practice motivational speaking in front of each other to better their speaking skills. But they have some of the best speeches in the whole world over a number of different topics. It doesn't even matter what the topic is. Getting yourself into a motivated mindset is what matters, and it can be about anything.
And I would honestly say, once you're in that mindset, maybe even find some more videos that you can play in the background. Not music. Find something you can play in the background, so once you're in the zone, you can just kind of space out on what you're doing.
That's what I do during product launches. Yeah, I play videos.
We watch a video or two, and then we get into it, and we just leave it playing in the background for white noise, and it's perfect.
Right, and I mean, a lot of that, I listen to a lot of Ty Lopez videos just because, you know, a lot of what he says is really hokey, and it's I don't even agree with a lot of the things that he says, but it's almost social for me when I watch like one of his live streams where a lot of people are talking about their success and things. You know, even just hearing this cocky guy talk about his Lamborghini and his success, despite the fact that I don't agree with a lot of the things that he's particularly saying about marketing, the fact that he's successful and I'm listening to his success story and knowing, wow, this guy here, this guy is successful.
Knowledge.
He, you know, just listening to something like that sometimes is enough to get you motivated. So
here in my Lamborghini with my Lamborghini.
You do his voice too good. I don't like it. You know what's bad? Guys, I will say that I am going to be monetizing my channel simply because I figure that with the growth of the channel, I'm hoping to at least make a little bit more moolah on the channel.
Somebody already thumbs down our video. You're a troll.
I'm hoping it to eventually make a little bit off of the channel simply through ads, which I'm sorry, you guys are going to have to deal with those. However, I want to be able to create better content, and in order to do that, we need some big equipment. So,
yeah.
and before the Academy launches, which we don't know when that's going to happen, you know, we want to try to at least get the channel off the ground. So in order to do that, you might have to deal with a few ads. And one of those ads might end up being Ty Lopez talking about his Lamborghini.
Knowledge. All right. Any CPC advice, please? Or do you know of anyone who talks about this? Thank you for your advice.
What's CPC? I can't wait.
People were talking about that in reference to
CPC.
I had my CPC and my budget set high. That was for Etsy promoted listings.
Someone say, wait, what? Am I just brain farting? I'm sure I know what it is. It's something that I probably just not heard an acronym for. Sandy, my shop is still considered a hobby by my accountant. You need another accountant, Sandy. If you're making money on your business, it's not a hobby. Oh, cost per click. Sorry about that. You know, it depends. Are you talking about on Etsy for your cost per clicks? Because honestly, I don't even, when it comes to my cost per click, I set just my weekly budget and I leave it alone. I set my weekly budget at like $10 and I don't touch it, you know? So, I mean,
I think that's more of a legal thing. What? Their accountant is labeling it as a hobby. They might not be making enough money to not label it as a hobby.
The woman who's doing our accountant course pretty much said if you make a single penny off of your business, that you are no longer in the hobby range. If you're making money off of it, regardless if it's only a few dollars,
I think legally, if you can't support yourself on it, it's a hobby.
We would have to look into that a little bit. That would just be something that I would. I mean, you still have to pay taxes, despite if you're making any money.
If you make over $500. Angela Bale, what is the difference between SEO Book and Etsy Rank? Do they have similarities, and which one do you recommend?
I like them both, Angela. We actually are friends with Anthony from Etsy Rank. He's a really great guy, and he's changing it around a little bit based on some of the recommendations that the alphas have been giving him. In terms of Etsy Rank, I love that it catches errors. I love that it catches spelling errors. I love that it's giving you insights. He's changing it a little bit to help with long tail keywords more so than it was previously. However, Etsy Rank is based around Bing search algorithms because Anthony used to work for Bing. And SEO Book is more beneficial on the Google side. What I like to do is look at Google results from SEO Book, and I like to look at the Bing results from Etsy Rank. But both are very beneficial. There's not one that I would recommend over the other. For actually finding your long tail keywords, I still prefer SEO Book simply because you can type in a short term, you know, like for example, I could type in key and I might get results, recommended results like key necklace, skeleton key, you know, the Florida keys, things like that. So there's not one that's better than the other. It just depends on what you're trying to do. I use both.
Is 10 images optimal for SEO? Having
more images does not help your SEO on your Etsy, in your Etsy shop. What having more images does is it helps your customer more. And when your customer is seeing as many possible angles of that product as you could possibly provide, they're more likely to buy it. So you're more doing a service to your customers. In terms of SEO, though, number of photos absolutely has no impact whatsoever on your rank on Etsy. In fact, I'm sure that if you typed in some search terms on the very first page, you'll probably see a lot of listings on the first page that only have 1 to 2 photos. And I definitely don't recommend that. Have at least 5, but it will not affect your SEO at all.
Did we save the list that we all shared after the holidays for supplies?
The list that we shared, in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, Linda, that's been floating around in the community. So if you actually I think that we have a keyword search within the Facebook group. For those of you who are just joining us, the Handmade Alpha Facebook community is linked down below in the description. But if you do a keyword search, you should be able to find it. I would just search, maybe just search suppliers, and the post is green because it had a green Christmas tree as the background for that post.
Let's see here, Lisa. I was thinking of doing the spring collection after Valentine's Day because right now it's all hearts and love. Then it'll be fresh flowers and such. What's your opinion on that?
That's fine, Lisa. I really
totally
don't have
personal preference.
Yeah, that's personal preference. It really doesn't matter when you get it launched. Just whenever you feel fitting. There's no wrong time to launch.
And they said for receipts they take pictures of all of theirs. You can either take pictures of them.
That's a great idea. Scan them.
Or do you get an actual receipt scanner?
Yeah.
They have those too.
You can get one of those on Amazon for not that much. I was actually looking at those not too long ago, and you just put all your receipts into it, and it saves them all for you.
I'm fine with ads. Thank you. It's not like we're going to be making a fortune off of a couple thousand views, but...
And you can skip them.
But it helps.
I approved the button that allows you to skip the ads. I think that if they watch the ad, we might get... a couple.
Yeah, if you watch the ad all the way through, you get more. It's not a couple more cents. It's significantly.
Here's the thing. I'm only going to get $3 per 1,000 views.
If that.
Per video. So it's not like we're making bank. YouTube doesn't pay well unless you've got 1 million subscribers. However, I did a training on YouTube, and it said that you should monetize as early as possible because YouTube will actually, for SEO and YouTube will prioritize videos that are monetized because they know that they're making money off of those. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing it. So more people find my videos. It's going to help my SEO.
I thumbed up to help counteract the thumbs down.
You know,
the thing is about thumbs down during a live stream, either A, they're a troll, or B, they're butthurt at something that we said. So I don't care.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. They said something I didn't like. Thumbs down.
Here's a fun fact. Thumbs up and thumbs down both help our channel no matter what. So they all engagement, all comments, all engagement.
We prefer the thumbs up, though.
All likes. All the thumbs up tells us is that you like the type of content that we're providing you.
We don't make any money off of thumbs up. No YouTube channel makes money. It doesn't benefit their SEO any. It doesn't do almost anything to their channel. Let's see here. Cost per click, correct, not enough. $400 threshold. I'm not sure the threshold, to be completely honest. I knew it's somewhere around 500, but most people make more than that.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about it. 3 out of 5 years. Okay. How do I get over the fear of updating my SEO? I'm worried my ranking and sales will drop.
Well, I mean, if you're ranking well already, then don't change your SEO. But if you're not ranking, you're not going to lose anything. So you have to tweak SEO or you're never going to be able to build on it. You can't find what works unless you experiment, and you can't expect changes within a few days. You kind of have to change your SEO and then watch it over the course of a month. What?
All the thumbs up that are suddenly slamming in.
You guys are thumbs up us. We're making money on every thumbs up.
She said that thumbs down was from before you went live. Now, what a douche. All right. Anyway.
How dare they?
I've tried SEO, but the first 3 pages of a search are always huge industry leaders that have some of this, but mostly our department store inventories. I can't compete.
Well, I'm on page 1, and I'm not a department store inventory. It just depends on what keywords you're using. So if you're in an oversaturated keyword range, then you need to switch your keywords. What I would recommend if you're having trouble with your SEO, and if you haven't already, or if you feel like trying to get into the particular keyword you're aiming for is too difficult for you, you need to switch up those keywords, aim for keywords that have above 400 to 500 monthly searches, below 5,000 to 6,000 monthly searches. And so you don't have to scramble to write that down. Go to my video titled SEO for Newbies. It is on my channel, and that talks exactly about how I use SEO in my shop. We just had an alpha who has 5 listings on page 1 for her Yeti, the tumbler cups, Yeti decals. She's on page 1 by using that video. So definitely check that out because it is working for people.
All right. What do you think of Marmalade? Isn't it best for Etsy, as the developers were Etsy sellers and developed Marmalade based on their research selling on Etsy? Anthony from Etsy Ranks wife runs an Etsy business.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Marmalade. I've had people who have told me on numerous occasions that Etsy Rank not only does everything Marmalade does, but they've told me that they're finding more success on it. So I personally don't use Marmalade, but I mean, if you're finding success with it, then keep using it. If you're not, experiment with other things. I don't have a negative opinion of Marmalade. I just don't use it because I found success elsewhere. So I'm not going to recommend something that I don't personally use, though it is in our Handmade Alpha resources in our Facebook community in the files section. It's not that I don't recommend them. I just don't use them. So I'm not going to speak for them, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, selling on Etsy doesn't really do anything. Most people use their algorithms based on a search engine of some sort. It's usually not derived directly from Etsy. It's usually derived from Google. Most of the time it's derived from Google.
And Etsy Rank, Anthony told me that Etsy Rank uses Etsy AI. He is a smart dude. So,
yep.
All right.
Shooting at a gun range doesn't make you a soldier, I believe is what the saying was.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Jamie Jones, Wave Apps has an integrated receipt scanner. You just use your own scanner and uploads it. That's pretty cool.
Wave Apps.
Wave Apps.
Wave Apps. I also use Marmalade.
Starting to feel like something even more extensive than Marmalade. Anybody know of any others?
Footsie Doll. I like Etsy Rank. I like SEO Book. Feel free to look at my SEO for Newbies video if you need to know how to use SEO Book. I also have 2 trainings on Etsy Rank, and I will be making another one because Anthony made some changes to Etsy Rank that I want to share with you guys. I don't know if he made them only to the paid membership.
Your videos have been mentioned in Marmalade podcasts.
Have they, Stephanie? Do you have any links to those?
Shoot us an email with the links to those videos if you can remember.
If you know any podcasts that have had my stuff mentioned, let me know. Was it positive to
So that's
Stephanie?
the thing. We've never said anything positive or negative about Marmalade. We always just say we don't use it. We've mentioned them before, but we've never said anything good about them.
They've messaged me. They've messaged me before.
Let's see. How to change my grades on Etsy Rank. I have some Ds. Study more.
Standy, it sounds like you just need to kind of play around with things and see what problems are popping up. And if your grades aren't changing on Etsy Rank, maybe begin looking at your SEO again.
Let's see. Angela, if I'm ranking well for my first keyword on my title, but discover my 3rd keyword is not a good one, I want to change it. Will changing my 3rd keyword affect my good ranking on my first one?
You know, you might drop down a little bit. What I recommend is go ahead. If you want to change that keyword, do it. And then make sure that you're using that new keyword consistently through your description. Add it in your tags. And then when you actually publish that listing, be sure to also renew it. That way you kind of click into Etsy like, here's the change, here it's new, pay the 20 cents and renew it. And sometimes that's enough to help it kind of boost up. And it usually takes like 30 minutes for its rank to actually change. I recommend seeing where it is before you edit it and then edit it and then see where it lays after you edit it, which you can actually do that on Etsy Rank. You can see what page your listing will land on for a particular search.
What is the magic number of listings to a shop? We had a couple people ask that.
There's really no magic number of listings. A lot of shops are successful because they have like 800 listings in their shop, but that's only because they're completely saturating Etsy. And I don't think that that's healthy for the Etsy marketplace.
It's not good for the Etsy marketplace. Honestly, I would just recommend making sure you have enough items in there that you always have something to sell and not too many items that you don't look like a mega corporation.
Right. If you have a shop with 200 items in it, it's very unlikely that someone's going to click through and look at all 200 items. My golden number, I always try to have enough items that the first page of my shop has items. You know what I mean? I think that that's 24 listings total on the first page. After that, anything else is up to you. I usually keep around 50 listings in my shop, simply because I sell out of a lot of things. But if you're just starting out, making more listings isn't going to get you more sales. You can, have a million listings in your shop and still make sales. It's the quality of the listings and the photos and the description that are going to help you.
Quality product's better than quantity.
Thank you, sure. Richard. Yes, exactly.
Let's go. When you first started your Key Club Facebook group, what were the first things you started posting and how did you keep it interesting for subscribers? How do you stand out?
So my Key Club Facebook community, one thing that I like to do is I give my users an opportunity to talk about themselves. And I don't just give them an opportunity to talk about themselves. I give them an opportunity to brag brag about themselves. One thing that I've learned in human psychology is that most people really freaking love themselves. In fact, everyone loves themselves. Everyone is out for their own self-interests. People love to talk about their lives and show things off. So if you guys are a member of my Art by Star Lamore Key Club community, you might have noticed that a couple days ago, I posted a thing that said, I was going to ask you guys a poll about market research, you know, blah, 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 to help with my market research. But instead, that sounds boring. Show me a photo of your cats. And I've had so much engagement over the few days. I've had over 1,000 comments of people, probably not 1,000, it's probably more like 500 cats posted. So the next day I said, okay, everybody, you guys showed me your cats. It wouldn't be fair for me not to have you show me your dogs. And
mostly because a couple people got a little butt hurt.
That I didn't allow them to post their dogs. Yeah,
a little bit butt hurt.
So I did show me your dogs. It can be anything. Give them an opportunity to share something about them or to
engage.
Right. Say, hey guys, I'm about to watch a movie tonight. What's your favorite movie or series on Netflix tonight? Hey guys, what's a good book that you would recommend? I really like fantasy books. Or what's your favorite book? Or, you know, talk about your next collection. Hey guys, I'm developing my next collection. What are some ideas you'd like to see? Or I'm developing an animal themed collection. What animals do you want to see in the next collection?
Chickens next.
So, yeah, definitely give them opportunity to talk. And don't just repost things that you post on your public Facebook page. That's not why people join your VIP group. They do it because you're going to form a connection, become their friends. First of all, a lot of people say in business, you shouldn't become friends with your customers. You don't have to be best friends going out to coffee with them. Be friends in your group. Give them an area where they can engage with you. You don't have to add them on Facebook. You don't have to let them see your personal posts. I don't add my customers unless I've already formed, you know, a outstanding connection with them. But I know that in my group, this is a little place where they can talk to me. That is our little social place, and I will chat with them there. So those are all things that can not only give them an opportunity to hang out and engage and kind of boost you up in their newsfeed, but it also gets them closer to you and makes them like you. People buy from sellers who they like as people. So if they like you, then they're more likely to buy from you.
Glitzy Doll said, I bet they would do a collab. They're talking about Marmalade. Here's the thing about collaborations. You don't know who they are. You don't know what kind of person they are. And you run a very high chance of, if you request to do a collaboration with somebody, you run a very high chance of them saying, yeah, if you pay us for it, or something similar to that. So like Anthony from Etsy Rank, he contacted us first, right?
No, I can't.
You contacted him?
Because he said that, I can't remember. One of our alphas said that she mentioned me, and he said to have me message him, and I did, and we ended up hitting it off. So
either way, it's risky business to like asking for a collab, because you never know who you're going to be in contact with, and if for some reason you upset them and they have a huge following, they can destroy you. So it's just about being careful. I would love to collab with anybody that wants to. It's just you have to be kind of careful who you collab with.
And we don't have a lot to collab about right now. You know, maybe in the long run I would do it, but I like
busy enough as it is, man. Collaborations is just another hour of work I got to do every day, you know?
Right. And I'm not even the best at getting back with Anthony. He messages me all the time, and sometimes it takes me a long time to message him back. So, or
even some of you guys that email us. That's why it takes us maybe a day or two or three, or sometimes a week, just depending on the importance of the message.
Stephanie. It was a guest that had success after watching your videos. Thank you.
Oh, that's cool.
I was afraid that it was like some trash talk.
Moving up in the world.
I don't think anybody's trash talked us yet. It's inevitable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Our competitor back in the day tried pretty hard.
Our competitor that
was a war
that we ended up running out of business.
They started it.
Let's see. Too tedious to go through all the items. True.
Love cats, love dogs, chickens next.
I thought you knew your customers so well you had them pinpointed them down to having cats as pets. A lot of them have talked about their cats in the past. So.
Yeah, people love, if you do a show me your pets, people will love to post pictures of their pets.
Oh, yeah. People love their pets.
Yeah, pets and kids. People love pets and kids. Or selfies. Post a selfie or post a picture of what you're doing right now. Another one that's really, really great that I see a lot is stop what you're doing. Post a photo of what's in front of you right now. And a lot of people do that and enjoy those.
Let's see here. I love it when you say something like that and I have a really, really dirty joke I want to tell, but I can't.
Put only PG photos in the comments right now.
All right. Let's see. Chickens. Any thoughts about small business loans for startup?
I wouldn't. If you're starting on Etsy, there's no reason that you should need a small business loan.
No.
Because there is a very high chance that the business that you're trying to start might not end up.
Might be more work than you expect.
It takes
biting off more than you can chew sometimes.
It takes around 5 years for a business to become successful, and that's
or
debt.
Longer.
Yeah, that's debt that that. Here's the thing. We thought about doing like a Kickstarter and things like that at one point, starting out. Rather, we didn't ever think about business loans, but it's all a liability. If that's really what the path that you want to go, and you are super confident, that's one thing. But an Etsy shop, I don't feel should have the need for a business loan. If you're trying to start up a brick and mortar somewhere, that's different because your costs are going to be a lot different. But starting a shop, I don't think that it's going to be hard for one to get a small business loan. Brick and mortars have a way easier time because their expenses are so much higher.
I don't have any more questions.
I use both Marmalade and Etsy Rank after startless videos and really like Etsy Rank better. Oh, that's awesome. I've heard a lot of people say that.
Most of the people that we've talked to, or even in these streams, have said that over all three of the platforms, Etsy Rank was their favorite.
And that's why I recommend it, guys. If everyone had said Marmalade was their favorite, that's what I would have focused on. But everyone has told me Etsy Rank is their favorite. And I'm going to recommend the one that everyone says is their favorite, the one that everyone says works the best. Mm-hmm. I mean, why would I stray away from that?
And obviously we're collaborating with him to help, but we're not making a penny off of it.
He's
not paying us at all.
I only did that because you guys said you wanted it. I only made an Etsy Rank tutorial because you wanted it. Before you guys, I'd never heard of Etsy Rank. It was one of our alphas who said, hey, can you make a tutorial on Etsy Rank? And I had no idea what that was. I thought they meant like their rank on Etsy. And I'm like, well, that's all SEO. And they had to tell me it was a website. So that was you guys. And I only did it for you. That's how most of our videos are created. It's because you guys requested it. Or, today's live stream about motivation, which we've really strayed from that topic. But I made this video because I saw so many people in our comments talking about, feeling like giving up. When should I give up? A lot of people have been talking about it. So that is something I wanted to cover.
People still talking about chickens. Fragrances are awful, especially floral. I'm almost on the same boat as that. Floral fragrances gross me out super bad. They give me a headache.
Let's see. PayPal credit with 6 months to pay helped me in the beginning. That's okay.
Just be careful with debt. That's all I can really say. Debt is debt. And if something happens and you get audited or something and your business gets shut down, I mean, you're screwed, I mean, it's just be careful. Anything involving debt, just be careful. Know what you're getting into.
We finally just got to the point where our debt is, we
getting
still
close. We're under 10,000 now.
We have healthy debt now. We have a healthy amount of debt. We're in a healthy
range. We were in like the $30,000-$40,000 range. Well, including our cars. In the $30,000-$40,000 range. Now we're under 10,000, and we're not going to pay it all off. You shouldn't pay off all your debt, but
yeah, but we were like 22 years old with $30,000 in debt, and neither of us were in college, so that was a lot.
I'm working on the level of fragrance in my soap recipes. I bet that does take some time to nail down. I've never really thought about that.
We've got a lot of alphas in the group that make soap, so if you ever need help, always post in the group for feedback. There are always people who are in the group that are willing to help. All right, guys, do you have any last minute questions? I know that we strayed off the topic of motivation.
It's been fun.
It has.
With them. It's fun.
It has. I think that we got, out what we needed to say. But those books, for anybody who missed them, were Roar by Jennifer M. Dunn. There is a lion on the cover, though I think that there was actually another cover for this. I'm not sure. And you got this on Amazon, right?
Husband doesn't like any so far. Guys aren't as into scents.
Yeah, don't just ask guys, ask women. Started my Etsy with only $100.
Yep, she started Etsy with $100 that I gave her to start it up.
Yep, that you gave me. Who Moved My Cheese is the next book by Spencer Johnson. And these are the two books that you need to go get like today. Mainly Who Moved My Cheese. I'm not even done with Roar yet. But I can already tell it's going to be a good book for motivation. I'm about halfway through it. Who Moved My Cheese is the one that I want you guys to get, though, because this one will only take you a little while to read. And it's like a life changer. So
Kelly said, when I'm stuck and can't get in gear, I make the panty. I'm a custom costume makers and all the panties are the same. Yeah. Do the monotonous stuff. Yeah. see here. What kind of chicks? Oh, they're still talking about chickens. I'm not answering chicken questions.
Have you done a video on developing your email list, VIP list, when you're starting from scratch? Renee Christine has a video about starting your MailChimp, or how to create a MailChimp account. So that's why I haven't created one of those.
I think Kelly's a bit behind.
So yeah, check Renee Christine's channel. She has a tutorial on how to create a MailChimp account. That's why I haven't made one.
What's your opinion on groups like the Artisan Group?
Is it a Facebook group? What do you mean? I'm actually not sure what you mean by that. There are a lot of great Facebook communities. It just depends on, like, all the Etsy communities. A lot of people go in there to sell their products, but they just consist of other sellers. My favorite handmade community is the It's Better Handmade group. It's actually called the It's Better Handmade group. That's my favorite. I post a lot of giveaways and things in there when I hold them. But
Elsabelle, should you make your first keywords in the title, low rating on Etsy rank, or target high hope? This makes sense.
I go ahead and watch my SEO training.
Yeah,
the first 40 to 45 keywords in your title will be the most important. They hold the most weight. So
can I see my rank on Etsy rank for the free or paid version?
You can see your rank on Etsy rank for free. You don't need the paid version to see your rating. It'll be like an A, B, or C rating, like a grade. So obviously you want to be an A. You can get all that for free though. I do have the paid membership though. Anthony gifted it to me so I could do tutorials on it for you guys. That's the only thing that he's like given me, is he paid for my membership. It's $10 a month. Everyone says that it's absolutely worth it for those who are actually paying for it, not just doing it for trainings. So that's up to you if you want to pay for the paid membership, but everyone says that it's fantastic. And most people are alphas. This is coming from them, not me. Most of our alphas have quit their Marmalade or canceled their Marmalade membership to trade for Etsy rank. And that's literally just me repeating what they've told me. So
do you listen to any motivational podcasts?
You know, I personally don't do a lot of podcasts simply because I'm always on YouTube. It's just, you know, there's so many other videos out there, and a lot of podcasts, I think they ramble on, but a lot of people respond to podcasts, you know, much more than motivational videos. So it's all up to you if that's what you're into. I personally don't, but there are tons of them out there. I would post in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community because Ruth, who, let's see, she's about to change her business name, but Ruth just posted, maybe it wasn't in. No, I remember. Ruth just did an interview with Renee Christine, and she mentioned the podcasts that she watches. So in Renee's recent interview with Ruth, you might want to check that out and find those podcasts. Otherwise, post in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are more into podcasts.
I like H38's podcasts. They're not exactly motivational, but they do some interesting things. Like they interviewed that guy from the medical industry that was charging outrageous prices for his pills.
Oh, yeah.
And like knocking that down, he was compared to like a CNN interview, it was pretty good. Like they were down to earth. Pretty cool.
Oh no, it's a group that puts handmade products in celebrity gift events. I've heard that, Stephanie. No, I've never used them. I've heard a few people talk about them, but I haven't seen the results from those. I haven't actually heard feedback from the artisans afterwards. I mean, it's never a bad idea if you can afford to send out, you know, things like that or do giveaways and things. It never hurts. Rebecca, is that the Joyful Entrepreneurs?
I'm not talking about this.
Yeah,
you can go down to here. Angela, I thought you said I could also see my listings page number on Etsy rank. Is this available through paid or free?
Yes, you should be able to. I believe that you can see that on the free version where you can actually see what page you're on. It should be within his keyword tools. You can see what page you fall on.
Motivated to paint chickens today. Have fun with your chickens. Holy crap, everybody with their chickens.
Chickens are awesome. It's like having a pet that feeds you.
They're great food. Yeah.
Don't turn chickens.
Alphas is the business end of things, correct?
What? Yes, the alphas. The alphas is my coaching. So this is kind of how I connect with everybody and let everyone know everything that has worked for me in my Etsy shop. So the Handmade Alpha Facebook community is down below, and that's literally where we talk about our Etsy shops. And, you know, That's the business end. My Art by Starla Moore is my shop. If you mean, you know, the difference between my actual Etsy shop, that's the Art by Starla Moore Key Club. That's where I actually connect with my customers. We've had a few alphas post their business questions in my Key Club, and I've had to remove them. So if you're a member of both, please make sure that you're not posting your business questions in my Key Club, because my customers don't know I'm a business coach. Not that I don't want them to know, but some of them don't know, and it makes them really confused. So
all right, that should be about it. We're all through.
All right, guys, it's almost 1:30, so we're going to go ahead and get off here. Our daughter is being very quiet, so
she's on her iPad.
Oh, that's probably why. She gets an iPad from school. That's pretty cool. I've always thought that was kind of weird that they just passed an iPad to a 5-year-old, but you know,
that I have to pay for and replace if she breaks.
Yeah, give a 5-year-old an iPad.
I don't mind I don't like Apple, but I don't mind buying my kid an iPad, but I'm not going to buy my kid an iPad that she doesn't get to keep. That's dumb.
Yeah. And
Simon Sinek.
And if she breaks it, we have to pay it. Have you caught any of those? No, I haven't, but I will look them up. Wonder if she's eating the chocolate again. Man, that was a nightmare. That child, we put her to bed, and I pushed her bed back against the wall, and I heard a crunch. So I pulled it away, and there were like 20 chocolate foil wrappers from.
And we had cleaned out behind her bed the day prior, so it happened overnight.
She ate like 20 pieces of chocolate, got out of bed, and got 20 pieces of chocolate in the middle of the night. Ridiculous.
Well, I'm going to go play VR and wait for your mom's dogs to arrive.
We're dog sitting this week.
Yay.
More chihuahuas. We have a chihuahua, and we're having 2 more chihuahuas. So if you follow me on Instagram, my personal, not Art by Starla Moore. I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is Art by Starla Moore, and the other is Starla K, just the letter K, because my middle name is K. Starla, the letter K, Moore. On Instagram, you can catch up on my puppy pictures, because there's probably going to be a ton of those. All right, guys, this has been a lot of fun. We will see you probably next Friday. If you guys have suggestions for topics for next week, post them in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community somewhere. Maybe, you know, just make a post about it, and everyone comment on that post and let me know what you guys want to cover next week. Otherwise, I will come up with a topic for you. All right, guys, have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.